Well, hello, boys. Glad you could join me. Got a cooler over there, so fix your drink or grab your beer and gather in close so that you can hear, and I'll tell you the story, Slew Foot Lou. Now, I first heard this story from a friend of mine. It was back in the fall of '69. We were out in the Flint Hills down by the Blue where we'd gather to tap a keg or two. Streak was there, and so was Jake, Bwana, Fitz, and Bub, Monkey and Gorilla Boy, Gorgo, Chief, and Suds. Stubby, Nova, Butch, and Plug, and Squirrely'd all come out. If the wind had blown just right, I reckon Stanley out. Now, it was probably after we'd pissed in the fire and cheered some dumbass jackfucker, after we sang that song about Loopy, and after Tommy Tucker, that he told us the story of Slew Foot Lou, a two-bit whore from the old Aggie Lou. A whore who'd been around the block with dang near every swinging cock in 14 counties and half a dozen states. Not a single man had she failed to make. But she didn't turn tricks for the almighty buck. No, Slew Foot Lou just loved to fuck. Well, she'd fuck 'em once and she'd fuck 'em for keeps, and she'd pile her asses in mighty heaps. You see, it took a blue steel dick to survive an affair with Lou and that old grizzly growler down there. But the men still came, and the men still tried. But not once had Lou been satisfied. And soon there just weren't no fresh meat to prod and poke her two-bit treat. But you'd heard that men were men out west, and the cowboys there might pass the test of the snapping clam between her thighs, a dangerous but juicy prize. So she took her trim and headed west to find and fuck the very best. Now, Lou was the most prolific hooker, but as split tails go, not much of a looker. Sure, the nipples on her tits were as tight as drums, but the bumps on her ass were as big as plums. She had hair in her nose and an ungodly pit, and breath that smelled like old dog shit. But between her legs was that Jew-jaw jam, hard to get, but good, god damn. But despite the acclaim that her beaver got, frustration dogged her honey pot. But she hoped to find while westward ho, fulfillment for her camel toe. So at every podunk town she passed, she pedaled off her dimpled ass, and as she went west, her legs and reputation spread till she got to the town of Peckerhead, where she settled in and became a star at a whorehouse called the Dirtbag Bar. The cowboys would come and the cowboys would go. They'd leave their cream in her love grotto, but no cowpoke, not a single one, had ever made old Slew Foot come. Until one day, out of the woods and across Bear-Ass Creek came a half-breed Indian called Piss Pot Pete. Old Pete, 16 pounds of swinging meat. Now, Pete was known throughout the land for the size of his dick and the smell of his gland. And when he walked through those barroom doors and caught the eyes of those barroom whores, an eerie sense of common doom fell upon that sinful row. Well, he laid his balls upon the bar, and I swear they stretched from thar to thar, and stink goddamn. And as the whores gazed down on that horrible cock, a few of them fainted from fear and shock, and some of them ran, and some got sick from the sight and the smell of that god-awful prick. Except old Lou, that nasty crack, she just grabbed a hold of Pete's one-eyed jack. Now remember, Lou was quite well known for all the dicks she'd fucked and blown, and Pete was known throughout the land, but not to the whore with his dick in her hand. And as she licked him stiff at the back of the room, the town hall clock struck 12, high noon. So now the stage was neatly set for a fucking showdown. Place your bets. Well, word spread fast throughout the town of the fucking contest going down. The townsfolk all gathered out there in the street to watch old Pete sink his meat. And so it began on that fateful day in the Dirtbag Bar just west of old Fort Hays. Old Lou started out with a dandy move as Pete's rod slid into her groove. The move was called the Texas Twister, but Pete had learned it doing his sister. Next, Lou tried the old Arkansas Smother, but Pete had learned that one cornholing his brother. Well, I swear they fucked for hours and hours, tearing up trees and bushes, shrubs and fires. Lou'd wiggle and squirm, she'd twist and shout, and then she'd arch her back and buck, but I swear no cowboy could ride like old Pete could fuck. And the fucking was frenzied and quite inspired, and if it weren't for their sweat, they'd have both caught on fire. But neither Pete nor Lou could gain ecstasy. They banged away from noon till 3, and just as some thought it would never stop, they thought they heard old Pete's dick pop. Well, Lou heard it too. Here was her chance. to finish Pete off with her man-eating snatch. So Lou used a move called the Kansas Twist, which left old Pete just a fucking his fist. But it left Lou dizzy and somewhat dazed. Her legs spread eagle and her eyes were glazed. So Pete remounted her from the rear. Her cock was twitching like a moose's ear. He pounded in his deadly meat. The die was cast. There was no retreat. Her pussy swallowed up his pud as they crashed through the doors and into the mud. The jizz was building in his mast. He sucked her tits. She grabbed his ass. Her clit was humming. She began to shake. Just one more thrust of that modest snake, and then Pete's wad blew into her chasm. She screamed, and then, at last, orgasm. And as his vile spew was rendered, the fornicating contest ended. Well, they both were bloodied, spent and sore, the engine and the two-bit whore, but neither one, the legends say, would ever fuck another day. But Pete walked out of town and died. His battered dick lay at his side, and all that was left of that two-bit whore was a bloody Kotex on the shithouse door. And that's the story, sad but true, of Piss Pot Pete and Slew Foot Lou. Now, the man that told us that story is gone, 15 years now this month, but our memory of him continues on. He may be gone, but we won't forget him. So let's raise a glass and drink to Ethel. Bye, Alpha motherfucker.